Hey folks, this is BestInSlot, and wasn't that a pretty insane trailer for Camp Cretaceous Season 4? In this video, we're going to break it all down bit by bit, check out a lot of the really exciting new stuff on the way, and then there's even an article written about the trailer from people, like an exclusive new article, which will hopefully provide a little bit more information and context as well. But let's check it out. We'll just watch it and we'll pause it every now and again and comment, and let's go.
Look at us.
We finally made it off the island. Go us.
Okay, so end of Season 3, obviously they get off the island. There was a little dinosaur trapped, or, well, something trapped at least, in the lower decks of the ship, and that doesn't seem to have been addressed in this trailer, so that's a little interesting. I'm wondering how that's going to factor in. And of course, as a lot of us kind of predicted, the Mosasaurus is going to show up, it's going to take the boat off track. No happy ending there.
What is that?
One thing I really like about that is the Mosasaurus doesn't attack the boat with its mouth, it doesn't try to break it open physically with its teeth or anything like that. It attacks the way that whales attack in old-timey whaling stories, you know, where they kind of fling themselves up into the air and then they use the just general force and size of their body as a top-down battering ram to break the ship in half. If you go look at like old whaling stuff, that's kind of always how it would go down. And I think it's a little bit more realistic than this thing trying to rip into this piece of metal, essentially. It's really interesting. You hear there, the music for the season has quite a dark electronic, almost metallic kind of tone to it, which really suits where we're going to end up.
This doesn't look like Costa Rica.
So, let's just scroll back just a teeny tiny bit. I'm trying to keep things relatively snappy because I do blather on a little bit. They're no longer in Costa Rica, which does mean that, of course, this is not Isla SORNA. I saw so many videos saying Isla SORNA confirmed and everyone talking about it on Twitter. And although that little teaser did look like, I mean, I did it as well. I literally did it myself. That little teaser definitely looked like Isla SORNA, but there was that little bit of desert as well, and it was making some of us a little bit suspicious. And clearly they've washed up somewhere fairly dark and depressing looking instead. This ain't Kansas anymore. It's also not. It's definitely not Costa Rica. So this was another theory that we talked about briefly, and that what we were seeing, because we saw that flash of desert imagery in the teaser for Season 4, and one of the theories was that it could be the place from Kenji's dad's apartment. Does not appear to be the case, but it was a nice theory. And another one of the popular theories was that it was basically a biodome, essentially like a self-contained environment. Now, there is a lot in this trailer to suggest that's going to be the case, not any least than this here. We can see the floor itself is real. It's a proper desert environment. But then the research facility is basically like the Truman Show, essentially, where the far off distance, you know, there's a little door in it and you open it up and then, you know, you're Jim Carrey. But this time the research facility is kind of embedded into the horizon in a way. I always thought this would make sense, because what if you walk that way and you bump into it, you're going to find it anyway. But the point is, it blends in, it's hidden, it's kept secret and safe. Maybe it's just to stop the dinosaurs attacking it, if anything else. But it does look like they're on an actual desert based on the ground at the very least.
What the heck is
This is, assumedly, a Manticore Facility.
this place?
Only one way to find out.
So the Rex is back, which is pretty cool. Obviously this is, well, we can assume pretty safely this is a brand new Rex to the franchise. There's a lot of new additions to the canon right here. And you've got to keep in mind, Camp Cretaceous has been called canon by Colin Trevorrow himself. So we've got to accept all of this stuff now as part of the franchise going forward, which some people will rebel against. I'm quite excited about it. I'll talk about why at the end. Anyways, we have a Rex, and we also have, and we'll check out the Rex in... Actually, let's just nip back to the Rex very briefly.
One way to find out.
There she is, looking lovely. Or he, we don't know. We literally don't know anymore. We are going to see in a little bit more detail, but it's cool. She's very scarred up, as we'll see soon. She's got this kind of like blue-green sort of colouring. It's a little bit reminiscent of the Lost World / Jurassic Park 3, but leaning more towards those blue side of the colours.
No, it can't be.
And I want to grab this. Here, this is really cool. So, I mean, clearly this isn't a dinosaur. Look at what we're looking at, the texture around the eyes. Now, we're going to see what this is in just a second, but it's important to focus on the shape in the middle of the eye. To me, this looks like a cave opening. You can see it's thick at the bottom, thinner at the top, and beyond it, what looks to me maybe be like the sunrise, you know, that's the clouds there, and that's why it's getting darker towards the top, and it's red because it's sunrise. You can see here, this is the light spilling in. So it seems to be a creature awakening from inside a cave. This is the main thing that's, oddly enough, on a very confusing trailer, the most confusing thing. Why would Darius be jumping to the bottom of the water? They've tied him up to, maybe to the top of the beach, to the other people have got the rope, whatever, although the rope doesn't seem to be attached to anything now that I look at it. It's attached here, and then he jumps in. Where's the rope? Okay, so actually, maybe that's actually a teaser of what's going to happen. Maybe that's why he looks so scared and that he's struggling. Maybe they drop the rope. Maybe they're getting attacked on the surface and he's going to start to get weighed down. What I'm really excited about here, though, is given his position, he's kind of off to the side, and this big swathe of uninterrupted water behind with the light spilling in. This would be a really cool opportunity to introduce another aquatic creature of some description. We've really only had the Mosasaurus, and given some of the crazy stuff in this trailer, you know, it'd be cool to see prehistoric fish or something, or another place you saw, well, a first place you saw actually, or an ichthyosaur or something else to mix things up a little bit. Helicoprion, you know, just give us something cool, hopefully. Now this, interestingly enough, I think is the cave we saw a little bit earlier on. You can see it's thicker at the bottom, thinner at the top. It kind of looks very similar to the cave. Ben's entering, a little bit scared. Already looks like he's running from something. Got himself a little... he might be leaving the cave rather than entering it, actually. It's quite hard to tell. Right, and we have drones. I think this is one of the reasons people are rebelling against this trailer a little bit. Some people aren't totally convinced by the high-tech approach. I'm kind of the same. I get that this technology would certainly be possible in the Jurassic Park universe. You gotta keep in mind, we were making dinosaurs 30 years ago in the Jurassic Park universe. Technology's come a long way. So, you know, for the technology to be a little bit further ahead than our own is hardly surprising, to say the least. Especially with the drones. It's more the the robot dogs. But they seem to be... they're not attacking the Rex.
Where are they taking her?
You see they're saying where they're taking her. They're acting more like sheepdogs. They're herding the Rex to a specific location. But here we get a really good shot of her. She's got beautiful skin colouring and texturing. Really looks fantastic. The animation across this entire trailer is staggering. But you can see she's been in a little bit of a tussle as well. There's some really recent... these aren't old. These are recent. You see, you know, it's exposed... broken, bloodied flesh. These are exposed wounds. Maybe the other large carnivore, but maybe there's even something else on the way. We'll have to wait and see.
And here I thought Nublar...
Okay, so, hello Robot Dog. So there's Robot Dogs. It's very... it reminds me of Metal Gear for some reason. I don't remember Metal Gear having Robot Dogs, but maybe I did. But this kind of... so we've got this whole new snowy environment. Again, a crazy environment. Nothing we've seen before in the canon. We did think about this a little bit in the past. There is a Masrani base / InGen base over in Siberia where they were digging up mammoth fossils and stuff like that to try and bring back non-dinosaur creatures. But given that we're on this island, assumedly nowhere near Siberia, it's probably not. What this lends credence to instead is the idea that we are in a biodome of some description, or like a multi-biodome environment, because if we go back here to the Rex, you see this is temperate, it's redwood looking, it's actually a lovely, lovely environment. Semi-tropical, temperate, tropical, rainforest, blah, 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 blah.
And here I thought...
and then we've got this snowstorm, blizzarding, snowy, alpine environment, you know, this wasteland of snow. It's completely different. So I suspect they've got this rocky island that we saw when they first crash landed, and then you've got a forest dome, and you've got a desert dome, and you've got a snow dome, and what they're doing is they're testing out the dinosaurs in all these different environments to see how they handle those environments, because inevitably they want to sell them to people who are in different environments, they want to use them for battle in different environments, they want to use them for food, whatever it is they're doing with the dinosaurs, it makes sense to test them in a wide variety of areas, and also just, you know, some dinosaurs will prefer certain places to live. It's a really interesting idea. It lets them mix things up really quickly within a single season. Anyways, campers are doing a runner in their little snow vehicles. They get chased by robot dogs.
Biggest place I ever seen.
Because of course they do. I don't have anything to say about the robot dogs. If you like them, you like them. If you don't, you don't. It is what it is. And then we have... this will annoy some people.
A saber-toothed tiger.
All they had to do was call it a cat, not a tiger, and people would have calmed down. Not a big deal, I don't think, for a kid's show. Yeah, I mean, it's a saber-toothed cat. That's nuts, right, for Jurassic World? I know we've had non-dinosaur creatures for a while. The Pteranodons have been around for ages. The Mosasaurus has come in. We've seen images. I'm not going to do any spoilers, but we know there's some coming for Dominion as well, and terrestrial non-dinosaur creatures. But, I mean, a saber-toothed cat? That's mad. That's like a whole step in a whole other direction. It's much more recent than everything else they've been doing. Now, I personally am actually a really, really big fan of this. It surprises me a little bit, but for me, for Jurassic Park, or Jurassic World these days, I guess, to survive as a franchise, it needs to expand, it needs to grow, it can't just be dinosaurs on an island anymore. It needs new stories to tell, it needs new ways to interact with prehistoric creatures, it needs all of this, and for that to work, you need to expand the library of creatures you can pull from. So, you know, going much more recent with Sabretooth and mammoths and all this kind of jazz, going back even further before the dinosaurs to things like Dimetrodon, etc., and going to prehistoric fish and megalodons and sharks and all this stuff. We need this huge variety if the franchise is going to sustain itself. It can't be locked in like it has been in the past. So this is a big swing for the fences, but a really good one in my opinion. And it looks cool. So I suspect, given that Ben has the torch here, what we were seeing earlier was Ben goes into the cave, he wakes up the Smilodon, he runs away from the cave, basically. Cutting analysis there, I'm sure you agree. This is really interesting. So this is clearly the desert environment here. Kenji is slipping himself into a sandworm pit. It's a little homage to Dune. Maybe this is Arrakis. Maybe that's the twist. Is Arrakis the name of the planet? I actually can't remember. I think it's Arrakis. This is interesting though. You know, I mean, slip. I don't have anything to say about it in case you can't tell by me going slip. It's like slipping down into the pit. It's very Star Wars. There's a little flick of that. I wonder what this is though. Maybe it's a research base opening up underneath the sand. It could be something like that. There we have the new Kentrosaurus. Very cool. A new addition to the canon. Interesting that it's here in the snowy environment. It looks brilliant, but it's here in the snow, and then Robot Dog drowns. And then just a few seconds later, we see the Kentrosaurus again here squaring up to the same T-Rex as earlier. Now, it is possible that these marks that we saw, we're seeing the other side of the Rex here, so there's mark there, but on the other side, there's even more of them. It is possible that those marks were caused by the Kentrosaurus, who, by the way, I love the colouring again. This is fantastic looking dinosaur design. But to me, the marks on the other side looked more like scratch marks. They were like more triple pronged and stuff like that. They're more like a typical, you know, fingers clawing across the skin. They don't look like the marks a Kentrosaurus would make to me. So I suspect, and as we can see, the Rex has already been scratched before arriving to the Kentrosaurus. So the drones have been leading the Rex, assumedly to this facility we have over here, barbed wire at the top, and at some part of the research facility, and it runs into the Kentrosaurus along the way. So the Rex probably still squares up to something else. Rex looking very angry, not happy about the situation whatsoever, and goes in for the bite on the Kentro, and we hear a crunch. Now maybe the Kentro survives. It doesn't sound like the Kentro survives, but who knows. And then, of course, the Rex may have been the queen or the king, we actually don't know anymore, of the temperate, of the rainforesty environment, but the Spinosaurus is here in the desert, and it does look like a real desert. I suspect what it is a real slice of desert in a dome, and then the walls have been configured to look... Okay, this is actually a theory that I've just come up with. It's not exactly a great theory, but or like a deep theory. But anyways, imagine big island filled with domes, and each dome is a different environment. The ground is perfectly replicative of that environment. The edges and the roof of the dome, again like Truman Show, are designed to look like that environment. So this is all fake desert here in the far distance, but here on the ground is all real desert. And then what the kids found earlier when they walked into the wall was probably the tunnel leading to like the main facility or to another dome, and that's how they're branching across them. Like the edge of each dome will have an access tunnel leading to the next environment. That's what I'm guessing. Spinosaurus looks fantastic. The eyebrows are a little bit crazy, it must be said, but you've got to keep in mind this is not the Isla SORNA Spinosaurus. This is a whole new Spinosaurus. God, they really threw people for a loop, didn't they? Yeah, I think she looks really cool. I do think the eyebrows are a little bit on the mad side, but other than that, she looks great. Maybe a little bit dim in the colouring. I'd like to see a little bit more of that, but the lighting isn't fantastic here necessarily, so who knows what we'll get in the future with a better look. Yeah.
That's new.
She does appear to be lower in patterning, but again, it could be the trailer isn't fantastic condition. On the preview poster for season 4, she does look quite colourful, so we'll have to see. But there you can see it's quite brown in coloration, but it's still very, very cool. There we go. Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous season 4 comes out very, very soon. I believe it's the does it say here?
Something tells me we shouldn't go in there.
Which means we're obviously going in there.
Come on.
Again, Darius isn't showing up in a lot of these. I wonder if he goes off on his own adventure this season, kind of like Ben did a couple of seasons ago. Got a little research facility there in the middle of the rainforesty sort of environment, which does look a little different from the redwood one we saw earlier. So maybe there's 4 biomes, even 5 biomes. We'll have to wait and see. Really interesting idea that this could be used. This ties in really weirdly well with Jurassic World Evolution 2 with its biome expansion as well. Either way, hype trailer. A little bit more I want to show you. Let's hop into the article. Okay, so I don't want to go through the whole thing. You can do that yourselves. I will link this article down below, but I just want to very quickly go through things. First things first, where the heck are these kids? Don't want to get too spoilery. It's not Isla SORNA, and it's not one of the 5 deaths. This is an island, so it is an island, previously unseen in the Jurassic canon. Okay, cool. Robots! First box we see are drones herding the Tyrannosaurus Rex. And if there are drones, someone's operating them. Who and why are operating the drones? Some of the questions we're going to start digging into. Trailer also finds the group interacting with a facility that appears to project different environments using holograms. It's an interesting idea. The Truncheon one in particular comes with a robot that happens to look like a dinosaur. Did it? Looks like a dog to me. We've done 26 episodes of kids running away from dinosaurs. They felt like changing things up. This is interesting that they're semi-suggesting... Okay, new theory. It's a single dome. And it can change environment. And what we were seeing when Kenji dropped into the ground was them kind of like funneling the Earth out of the way to replace it with a new environment. That seems a lot trickier than having multiple domes, but you know, it's an interesting idea. Not necessarily a dome, by the way, I just like the idea of a dome. Almost like Darius mentioned in Season 3 about Scorpius Rex, they survive because they know the dinosaurs can behave or what the situation is. Now, thanks to Mosasaurus, they've been thrown into a whole new world where they don't know why things are happening, who's behind it. Obviously, things are not good. Not only is it the fear of dinosaurs and no robots, hopefully not too much, hopefully mainly dinosaurs, but also fear of the unknown. And then, of course, we have the saber-toothed cat. Cream's going to take credit. We've now expanded this world where it's not just InGen, it's not just Biosyn, it's Manticore, you know. People are making these prehistoric creatures, so it's like, why would they stop at dinosaurs? And really, there is no reason they would. If anything, a saber-toothed cat is going to be much, much easier to clone than a dinosaur. It actually makes sense for all the new companies popping up to aim for these more recently extinct creatures. Creamer also confirms the big implication here is that there could be other non-dinosaur prehistoric creatures lurking in Season 4. Cool. We have our own corner of the franchise. It's rooted in canon, but things that happen in our series inform things that happen in Fallen Kingdom, as well as the upcoming Dominion. Maybe we'll see Dimetrodon. Maybe we'll see some of those non-dinosaur creatures teased for Jurassic World Dominion. Maybe we'll see some more aquatic life, as I mentioned earlier. Very cool. Very exciting stuff. Lastly, we have Spinosaurus. Last time we saw blah, blah, blah. There's a good chance that it might be the exact same Spinosaurus. Oh. Interesting. Okay, so ignore what I said earlier. That's a really interesting idea. How the heck did it get here? Well then, why the heck is it in a desert? That's not a normal habitat for a Spinosaurus, just something for fans to think about. That is something for fans to think about. Always want to have a Spinosaurus on show, largest land, carnivore, blah 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 blah. Okay, and this is important as well. While Camp Cretaceous seasons typically come with a central dino causing those problems for the kids, Spinosaurus isn't necessarily that for Season 4. We broadened out more, the Spinosaurus is definitely prominent, but I wouldn't say it's our main antagonist. It's not our Toro or Scorpius Rex. And there's the image, if you haven't seen it before, from the Spinosaurus. So that is an interesting idea then. If the Spinosaurus is indeed the same one, which is a pretty nutty idea, how does it end up from Isla SORNA all the way to wherever this mysterious island is? I guess it can't be that far away because they've washed up on it, right, from Costa Rica. Even if they're not at the 5 deaths anymore, the island can't be too far away in theory. And maybe it makes sense that Manta established their own base on a nearby unrelated island and have been smuggling dinosaurs from Isla SORNA after the events of Jurassic Park 3. That could definitely be a thing. I could see that. This will, of course, as we've kind of talked about anyway, kind of just eradicate all of the DPG writings. They clearly have no interest in sticking to that at all, which is fine as far as I'm concerned, but I know some people are a bit iffy about that. But, oh look at Ben's being really sidelined here. I think Ben's had a lot of focus lately, so maybe they want to give the attention elsewhere a little bit more, which would make a lot of sense. December 3rd, crazy. So that would be my main theory, that Manta have established a nearby base to make it easier to steal the dinosaurs. They've been going to Isla SORNA, they've been stealing the dinosaurs, and then obviously they're doing that so they've got the DNA for themselves. They've got their own genetics that they can then create species from and stuff like that. That would be my guess, but let me know what you think. It's a really interesting little idea. Like I say, I like all this stuff. I like that the franchise is trying to expand and trying to do new things. I think it's necessary. I think it's a long time coming. And excited to see where it goes next in other properties. That's it from me. Throw me a like if you enjoyed the video. Let me know your own thoughts and theories down below in the comment section. And I'll see you lovely folks very, very soon for lots more Camp Cretaceous Season 4 discussion. And of course, we'll be here when it drops as well on the 3rd of December. Thanks for joining me. Cheers much as always. Bye-bye.